always saying, oh, you dealt with the bad guy and that's why you got in a situation. And in actuality, I feel like I dealt with a great man, it just did not work. It's not, I think they have this narrative that we all mess with that bad guy who was something, wasn't a good guy and we ended up pregnant, when some of us were really good catches, really
They
good
think that
guys.
all of them are Pookie and Ray Rays.
Ray
Like
Ray.
that your baby daddy was a Pookie or Ray Ray.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's quite the
Yeah,
opposite for
quite
some
the
people.
opposite. We actually planned our daughter. Like we planned. Like I detoxed for 30 days. Like he wanted his daughter. We had our wedding date set. We were engaged, so we just went ahead and did it. It was that, he was a cool guy. He just wasn't a cool guy for me, I guess, so it didn't work out. But that's how it goes sometimes.
I wonder if that rhetoric just comes from women who demonize a partner that it hasn't worked out with, or is it men who want to look at themselves as better than, who kind of spin that. I'm curious where this rhetoric comes from. Like I'm not a mom myself, so like I can't speak from my own experience, but I'd love to hear, because you ladies are saying your experience is totally different. So where does this narrative come from?
I feel like it does come from that initially.
Narrative. I'm
Like,
sorry. What's
sorry.
what's the narrative? I just want to follow along.
Yeah, I'm confused too.
The narrative of, a woman becomes a single mom because she's dealing with a bad guy, that, like, it's either a Pookie or Ray Ray, or somebody who's abusive, or was a narcissist, because that's the popular thing to talk about. Like, there's always this narrative of the other partner being bad, right? So where does that come from if that's not a common experience?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it is a common experience. And before I healed from what was taking place between my daughter's father and I, when we had our communication breakdown, I could say that I was in a space where I was playing victim. Not to say there weren't things that didn't call for that, but I think that does happen a lot when we as women choose wrong and then feel bamboozled and then act as though we didn't choose that person for ourselves. And so we then turn around and be like, oh, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. No, he just was a bad guy for you. Like, you guys brought that out of each other. So now that he was a bad guy for you, you want to make it seem like he's a bad guy in general, when y'all just weren't meant for each other, or we just weren't meant for each other. And because we were out of order in how we were dealing with each other, things unfolded the way they did. But he's the same guy that he was when you met him. Maybe, give or take a few things that he may have learned from the experience with you, but he's the same person. So I think it does happen. I mean, it does happen, like, where I feel like even when guys introduce us to their representatives, like, that's on us. We supposed to discern. We supposed to vet properly. We supposed to figure certain things out. So if we don't, it's just on us. So I do feel like that happens when we, like, kind of put ourselves in a place of, like, victim, and don't really call it for what it is, which is just the fact that, the person that we selected just wasn't the person we were supposed to have selected for ourselves in that way.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And I love, like, I think you kind of like, you said it perfectly, like, in those words. Because as I stated, like, the father of my child, he was my high school sweetheart, and we went separate ways. And as I said, I doubled back to something that I thought I wanted, trying to make him into the person, because we were still friends and we were really great friends, because he was a great person, or what I thought. He just wasn't the person, you know, meant for me, you know, or, you know, right, how we kind of use the term or the phrase right person, wrong timing. So it's like he was still the same person that he was. And it's just like, I expected it to be something different, and he wasn't showing up, you know, to be that person that I had kind of made him out to be in my own head. But
for me, I think that the knowledge I have today, it would have been a little different than in the past, because I'm not an adventurous. Well, back in the day, I'm a little bit more adventurous now, but in the past, I was not. So when it was time to move for career change, because my child's father is that career guy. He is the epitome of that go getter. He is going to get it. That has always been him, but I didn't see it. I'm more of a country girl, you know. I like my space. I like the South. Um, I know it's so old school, but that's just how I am. And he was a northern guy, like, look, we got to move to so and so and so and so. And I'm like, no, we don't. We can stay right here. But that's where opportunity was. And so that distance kind of, so it had nothing to do with our our personality, so to speak. It was really just distance. He had a bigger dream, a bigger goal, and it worked out great for him, but I'm just a Southern girl who just did not want to leave my territory. It's horrible. But that's really what it was.